So thank you for coming and again for your patience. I'm Kathy Shaw. I'm the principal and director of Oak Ridge Academy. I'd also like to introduce you to a few of our board members who are here. So maybe when I call your name, if you just want to wave, give a little wave. So Dr. Karen Backway is our retired pediatrician who is on our board and who has been integral in terms of us getting Oak Ridge up and running. We're now into our third year, but it was a couple of years beforehand doing all the work. So Karen has been part of it from the beginning and is on our exec, and is also our co-chair fundraiser. And then Tara Botsford. Tara, if you can wave, there you are. Tara is a parent rep on our board and has a son at the school. Monica Small. Monica is as well on our board and on the exec and is our fundraising chair and also has a son at our school. Laura Martin is also on our board and on our exec and also has a son at the school. Oak Ridge Academy, as I'm not sure some of you sort of have had, been looking into the school and some of you have heard some things, but I'm just going to go through a bit of a background, who we service, the kids that are there, and what sort of our philosophy is. So I'm going to start from the beginning and start there. So Oak Ridge Academy is, it's a not-for-profit elementary school, and we service kids from grade 1 through to grade 8. We currently have 5 classes and 51 students. As a charity, we are backed by a very strong board of directors to ensure accountability, solid financial governance, and sustainability for our future years to come. Oak Ridge specializes working with students with different exceptionalities such as anxiety, ASD, learning disabilities, ADHD are kind of the majority of kids that end up coming to Oak Ridge. We are a school specifically designed to help your child not only succeed in the classroom, but also to gain and soar to new heights academically, emotionally, and socially. It's an innovative approach to teaching and reaching your child with special needs that has transformed not only for the kids, but also for the lives of the family. But first, a little bit of history of how and why we started. So over the years of providing therapy, children would graduate, quote unquote, from IBI programs or therapy programs and be ready to enter the school system. And some would start school part-time and continue therapy part-time, while others who'd be doing beautifully would be discharged from service. From a clinical perspective, they had gained the skills necessary to go into the school system. Yet, despite their gains, the kids were struggling to the day-to-day activities in busy classroom settings. And time to time, again, parents were returning to clinic and saying, this is not working, we're not sure what's happening. And the teachers were frustrated, the principals were frustrated, the entire school system was just not working. Children were losing skills and were just unsuccessful. And so there had to be a time of what to do and what do we do now. Students were then sort of being excluded from school more and more. They were, parents were getting calls so that they had to pick up their kids early because of behavior safety concerns, and students were walking the halls or given iPads to play with while they sat in a principal's office. A typical classroom had upwards of 25 students, and in every classroom, there would be, several students with individualized education plans. And if some of them were lucky, they would have a shared EA, and some who were permitted to stay the day, maybe sent home after an hour, depending on how things were going. So it was a bit of it was a lot for a lot of people. And so that's why Oak Ridge began. Parents were saying enough is enough. They want their children to have, their children had the same needs and the same wants as every other child. And most importantly, their child had the right to education. There were incredible invisible talents and unrecognized potential that were just being ignored. And it just simply they just went unnoticed. What I'm going to share with you is a quick video. It's about 5 minutes long from one of our moms, who sort of her experience with the system, and then once she came into Oak Ridge. So I'm just going to, if the sound's not okay, please let me know and I will turn it up.
My name is Susie. My son is Dylan, and he's in the 3-4 class. Dylan was in the public school board, and grade 1, it all started when there was more structure in the classroom in grade 1, and we started seeing a lot of behaviors where, he wouldn't sit still, wouldn't sit in his chair when he was asked, or to do the task that he was asked to do. So teachers often removed him from the classroom, and I was getting phone calls on average 3 days a week to come pick him up. And then grade 2, we had a meeting 6 days before school started to say that our son was going to be only allowed in for half days. So Dylan started school at 9 o'clock, and he was home every day by 12:30. And most of that time he was spent in the office because of behaviors. So grade 2 started with half days. For him, it was beyond frustrating. And for everybody in the family, it was very frustrating. We had to flip our whole world around. Me going from a full-time nursing position had to go part-time to, be able to pick him up every day. That changed our world completely. Make it work. Really, grade 1 and grade 2, he really got very little academics because he was never there. I think he just felt very unwelcome there. And as we did as a family, we felt very unwelcome. When grade 2, when we got put on half days, it kind of turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because that's when we found ABA, and that's what we were doing in the afternoons. Driving over to Waterloo to Balanced Approach, and that's where we found Kathy. I think that every kid has the right to go to school, and I understand they're very, they don't have the resources to deal with kids that do have special needs and need more time in the classroom. Oak Ridge is a dream come true. It's a godsend. It really is. I think he's a whole different kid. He's happy to go to school. He gets up every day in a good mood. He's literally greeted at the door. He's made tons of friends already, probably friendships that'll last him a long, long time. He's a whole different kid. Like I said, he reads, he can do math, he tells me things that I don't even know, every day. He's definitely come a long way in every aspect. He does accept certain situations. If I tell him, no, we can't do that right now, but we're going to do this first, and maybe we'll have time to do whatever he wants to do a little while later. And if we don't get to it, there's definitely acceptance there, where before he wouldn't have. So he's come a long way. Yeah, I don't know where we would be without Oak Ridge, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
So that was Dylan. And Susie, which I know that video was hard for her. I know she said she was in tears a few times sort of going through it, but very thankful for that we were able to sort of be able to go through that video and share her experiences and the things that she's had. So traditionally, some of the things that I think that Susie touched on is that escape motivated behaviors are really reinforced in schools. And so it becomes a vicious cycle that children's needs aren't being met on any level. And so what ends up happening is, a child is asked to complete a math test, for example. And then while they're sitting at their desk, she sort of thinks, I hate math. Math is stupid. She begins to internalize these. Well, not only math stupid, I must be stupid because I can't do this math. And in the child's mind, she becomes stupid. She thinks she's stupid. So she breaks her pencil, rips up her sheet, antagonizes her peer. And then she's removed from the class again. And the teacher just effectively rewarded that very behavior that she wishes to eliminate. And then the math remains incomplete. And the student has learned that when in an uncomfortable situation where she says, I can't take this, outbursts get her out of doing things, and she's free. She escapes from these uncomfortable challenges. And then this generalizes. It generalizes to her, her Saturday and Sunday soccer and baseball games, and to her play dates. She learns the second I feel uncomfortable, I can erupt and I get out of it. So I think all of you would agree that there's just so much more to school than simply just sitting and learning to read and write and multiply. If you are one of the lucky ones and you are allowed to spend 6 hours a day in school, maybe kids are just marking time. And learning is not an expectation. Simply getting through the day without a meltdown and being able to tolerate a classroom cannot and should not be considered a successful day. Oakbridge is a school where exceptional students learn to be themselves and learn to navigate real friendships. A school where they can learn to embrace all that they are and discover all that they can become. We are a not-for-profit alternative elementary school that blends therapy and education. We teach our students to self-regulate their emotions, prepare them for the challenges of high school, and we teach them to become socially competent members of the community. OBA was founded on the belief that all children, especially those with learning exceptionalities, have the ability to learn and deserve an opportunity to learn in an environment that promotes psychological and behavioral flexibility. Getting by is just not enough. Managing behaviors is not enough, and learning is expected, and success is presumed. Children with learning exceptionalities have needs and wants like every other child. They are no special in this regard. And we believe it is their fundamental right to attend a school with trained teachers and therapists that ensure this success. Providing a school with trained teachers and behavior therapists becomes a fundamental right for our students to ensure their success. Now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to show you a quick video of Heather so everybody gets to see her. And Heather just talks about, this is our first year of the school, so she hadn't had a lot of exposure with children on the spectrum, or children with different learning needs or behavioral challenges. So it was different for her, and so we did Lisa, who does our social media, did a video of Heather and her experiences for our first year at Oakbridge.
My name is Heather McLaughlin, and I'm the Assistant Administrator at Oakbridge Academy. I didn't realize just how many students needed to be in a school like Oakbridge. It is a whole new world being a part of a special needs world. I've never been a part of that. And at first I kind of went through stages of grief, because I just with the realization of what these families go through, it upset me so much that I wasn't aware. The biggest surprise for me was the dawning realization that these parents couldn't hold jobs when their children were in the public system, simply because they were being called every day to come and get their child within an hour. And here at our school, they're here from 8 in the morning or 9 until 4 o'clock. And it's on the rare occasion they go home due to illness and not due to behavior, because we have things in place to help these kids make it through their days. I'm proud to make it through their days. So the biggest shock for me was parents had never had that. When I go home every day, I always think to myself, that was a tough day. Getting through some of the behaviors, mostly watching these children who are struggling, and they're very aware that they're struggling. You're helping them, you're kind of carrying through their day, and then you have to carry them less and less and less, and watching them make it through their day with little to no prompting or help. And I'm a part of that, and I love it. I love that. And then seeing the families come at the end of the day, they are still waiting for that phone call. They still haven't gotten used to the fact that they're not getting phone calls to have their child come and be picked up. They can begin to have a life outside of the 24/7 caretaking of their children until adulthood, essentially. And the kids are doing so well here. I come away from each day just feeling proud I was able to help that family. But I say a prayer for every family every day. I can't not do it all the way home. I just say a little prayer for everybody, all the students and their moms and dads, and getting to know their moms and dads too. Like what amazing people with amazing senses of humor, because they'd have to have one. And yeah, and even watching the incredible changes in parents. as they are letting their guards down a little bit and learning to trust the system and realizing they're not going to get a phone call, and watching their delight at the end of the day. Like you can see they're like, wow, I'm greeting my child at the end of the school day just like everybody else. If you go by my desk, you get a hello, you get called a funny name or something. Like I greet every child that comes past my desk, and if I don't, they'll come back and remind me that I haven't. It's really nice to be a part of their lives or be a part of their inner circle.
The oddest thing about that video is seeing all the kids without masks on. It's haven't seen that in a while, so it brought a little tear to my eye seeing all that. But anyway, I think part of what Heather was touching on there too is the community that we really have at Oakbridge. It's not just about the kids in school, but it's about the families and the community that we have really created, and that is really, really, really strong and meaningful to so many of our families. So I'm just going to go into a little bit more just around what we do, our day to day, and sometimes it's easier to explain what we don't do and what we're not, and what alternative and private education is not from our perspective. So Oakbridge is not glorified childcare. Our students are expected to learn, and they work hard, and they make progress academically and behaviorally and socially. And simply getting by is just not okay. It's not an intensive behavior intervention service. By definition, IBI is one-to-one therapy, and Oakbridge is based on small group interactions with individual supports as required. And we do not receive funding by the government. So who do we serve? So like I had said before, we have grade 1 through grade 8 for children who struggle to succeed in the busy traditional classroom. A formal diagnosis is not required. Typically, our students are excluded from school or allowed to only attend, part of the day, or they're attending, but they're just not expected to do anything. To date, since opening our doors in 2018, we have not sent one student home for difficult behavior, not one. And in fact, within our first month of school, at our grand opening, this was the speech that was in part of my speech, and the student actually did a speech there. He was overheard saying to another student, dude, she's not going to send you home, so just chill. And that was just after a month. And we have continued to grow from there. It's truly been amazing. And then what do we provide? So we provide small classrooms, intimate environments. We have additional and specialized literacy training and numeracy support, and programming that is tailored to individual strengths and weaknesses. We teach the Ontario curriculum, but so much more. We uniquely thread therapy and teaching throughout our day. Our teachers teach something, and our behavior therapists teach something called ACT, A-C-T, Acceptance and Commitment Training, all within the environment of evidence-based principles of applied behavior analysis, so ABA. Chances are you may be unfamiliar with ACT. Very briefly, ACT was founded on relational frame theory and is a known behavior analytic approach to language that aims to better understand the link between human language and behavior. ACT is a behavior therapy that is based on taking values, guided actions that help individuals accept what they cannot change and commit to taking action that enriches their lives. ACT assumes that a quality life is primarily dependent on mindful, values-guided actions, and that it's based on 6 core principles. So being in the present moment, watching what you're thinking, diffusion, acceptance of feelings and emotions, awareness of thinking and the observing self, something we call self as context, values, which are so crucial to creating a meaningful life, and committed actions, committing to things and following through with these commitments. So I'm sure I've lost some of you there, but that's okay. In essence, psychological flexibility is to be in the present moment, noticing our thoughts and feelings, and accepting what we can't change and committing to take actions based on our values. Or put in another way, to be present in the moment, be open to our thoughts and feelings, and then do what matters based on our values. So what does alternative education look like? Well, our students learn the Ontario curriculum, how to make and keep meaningful friendships, how to be aware of and manage your own emotions, and independent daily living skills. How to act, ACT, so how to accept your thoughts and feelings and be present, choose a valid direction, a valued direction, and take action towards that direction. My cat is decided to come into the room here. And so our daily activities include ACT training, daily mindfulness, which helps wake us up and connect with ourselves and appreciate the fullness of each moment. Staff are trained very extensively in ABA and ACT. They're dedicated and they embody the philosophy of ACT, which is really big. We have specialized support staff with extensive training in evidence-based literacy treatments. And our classrooms have one teacher and 2 behavior therapists with 10 students. I'm going to go over to our website in a minute and just show you the gallery of pictures, but this is just a sample of one of our classrooms. So by being aware of our students' social and emotional needs and teaching students to be mindful and aware in the present moment, we are helping our students to improve relationships in and then also out of school. This key skill, encompassing social skills development and emotional regulation, is at the heart of all school activities. We believe that these skills will support our students for sustained future in both school, but more importantly, in life. Imagine a child whose potential is free to soar and whose talents and abilities are recognized and encouraged. And imagine a school where teachers value all student potential. This is what an alternative education can look like. And this is what Oakbridge does look like. And we're excited every single day. And although this is considered alternative education for many students with exceptional learning needs, this should be their norm. If, as a society, we believe in providing equal opportunities for education to all students, it is our responsibility as engaged citizens and community members to help support them academically and emotionally and socially. And this can and must be done in an environment where people are trained and they know how to do it, and everyone's strengths and needs are valued. In closing, I am here as a representative of those individuals who freely gave their hearts, their time, which I can't tell you the time that got up and ready, and the energy to make this incredible school possible. And I am one, but of many. We are just getting started and we have massive dreams. We believe all children can learn and thrive, and all children can soar, and we are truly watching it happen. The next slide I'm going to go through, I'm going to take you to sort of the admissions process and what happens, and then talk about tuition, and then I just have another day in a life video. It's about a few minute video just on, sort of a quick day in life, and then I'll open it up to questions. So if you go onto our website, there's quite a bit of information on there. If you go to our school and then down to admissions, you can do everything online. So the step 1 would be to fill in an application form. So all the information is here. So when you have a look at it, so you send it along with a non-refundable $100 application fee. We would like the current IEP, 2 last report cards, any behavioral or psychological reports that you have, anything to give us a full picture of your child. And then from there, typically what we've done is we've done sort of an interview and a trial day. So students come in for like a shadow day. We get to know them. They spend a day in a classroom. We get to know where they're at. parents meet, and we do some questionnaires with parents, and then we're taking some anecdotal data on how your child is doing, and any goals that you would like to work on. So during that time, that happens, and then the admission decision then comes after that. So at this point, because of COVID, we're not completely sure what it's going to look like. We will do the interviews with parents over Zoom, and probably also set up an initial meeting with your child to see if we can interact, to see how much we can get out of them. We would like to do shadow days, but again, it's going to be dependent on numbers in our region. So that's a little bit unsure, but we do really want to have that opportunity to meet your kids and make sure that they're going to be successful at Oakbridge. So that's sort of where we go from here. So the first step from here would be to put in that application form, and that will then trigger emails to you saying that we received it and where we go from there. While we're here, I'm just going to flip over to our gallery of photos. So on here, you can sort of go through, some of these are pre and post COVID, so you'll notice some without masks on and some with. And so please take the time to just go through. It sort of shows you setup of our different classrooms. So we are located inside Forward Church in Cambridge. We have a separate space in there. I don't know if any of you have been to Forward Church, but it is quite large. So they did house several years ago, an elementary school burned down, and they housed the entire school there. So there's lots of space. We have a field and a huge gym. So we're really, really fortunate to have the space that we do. There are some of our students and some of our teaching staff who are truly, truly amazing. So it's really worthwhile to sort of spend some time and go through and have a look at the gallery if that's something that you're interested in. And then on to sort of tuition. So our current tuition is $26,000. And you can, we do have information for you to claim this through your income tax as a medical expense. I can get you all that information if you would like to have a look at it. And I'm just going to flip over to a quick video, a day in the life, and then I'll open it up to questions.